And this is the most important thing, and I'll tell you why, because the 4 other mistakes I mentioned, if you make the mistakes, this will probably cause this mistake. So you have to do all the others in order for this mistake to not happen. Now, my number 1 pro tip is to because otherwise, how will you know if you're progressing? Starting your fitness journey can be one of the most challenging things you do, and it's easy to make mistakes along the way that slow down your progress. So in this video, I'm going to explain 5 commonly made mistakes for gym beginners, and I'm also going to give you 5 pro tips to help kickstart your progress in the gym. Let's get to it. All right, so I'm going to start with what I think is the least important mistake that I made, and then I will finish off with the most important mistake. So make sure you stay to the end of this video to find out the most important mistake and the most beneficial pro tip I'm going to give you. So let's start with planning. When I first started going to the gym, I basically turn up, do whatever sort of workout I wanted to, and have zero routine. I wouldn't know what muscle group I'm training. I wouldn't know what exercises are the best to do. I wouldn't know how to structure the types of exercises I was doing throughout the workout. I just had absolutely zero plan. And I understand it makes it a little bit more exciting because you're turning up and you're sort of like, oh, what am I going to do today? Just makes it a little bit more exciting, especially for newer people. But that made it so hard to track my progress on the exercises because I would be all over the place in terms of my fatigue, my recovery, and then obviously I would not write the exercises down because there was no planning to it at all. So to make sure you can actually track properly and progress in the gym, make sure you have a routine. Make sure you come into the gym knowing what muscle groups you're going to train, in what order you're going to train the different muscle groups. So for example, if you're doing a push day, are you doing chest first, then triceps, then shoulders, or you're doing shoulders first, then chest, then triceps, like that. And then also what exercises you're doing. There can be a bit of leeway on this because a lot of exercises have very similar crossover depending on if it's like a dumbbell press or a cable press, very similar exercises, but there are reasons and benefits to doing the cable press, for example, before the dumbbell press. Just make sure you have that in mind. All right, the next mistake I made was overtraining. And this doesn't just mean training every single day. It means the volume of training you're doing within your sets and your exercises themselves. I think a lot of beginners think if I can train as much as possible, that is going to result in the most amount of gains. That's just not true. And obviously that's what I was doing, but it can drain you really quickly, physically and mentally, and can really easily cause burnout, as well as really bad injuries like repetitive strain injuries. And above that, doing high volume training can give you quite a good pump. But you don't really want to be pump chasing. That's not the way you want to go if you actually want to look for progress in the gym. If you just want to go to the gym to get a pump and that's what you enjoy, and that's why you go to the gym, then more power to you. Go do that. But if you want to go to the gym for actual physical, tangible progress, don't chase a pump. So don't overtrain. That means do not come to the gym every single day. You do need rest. Rest is what recovers your muscles and allows you to train even harder the next session. Without rest, there's no progress. So please don't overtrain. Right, the next massive mistake I made when I was a beginner at the gym was my nutrition. A lot of beginners might think you can go to the gym and not alter your diet / nutrition at all and put on a significant amount of muscle. You probably could get away with it, but why would you waste all that potential by not focusing on your diet or nutrition at all? So I always say there's 2 avenues you can go down when you first start going to the gym, and these are the 2 wrong avenues. So you either completely neglect your nutrition and diet and don't think about it at all and just hope you can get through without thinking about what you're eating or changing what you're eating, or you can go down a completely opposite route and just go ham, but with all the wrong things. And I suppose a ham is a bit of a play on words because when you are bulking, a lot of people, particularly me, will just try and eat loads and loads of calories, which isn't a bad thing, but you get it from the wrong sources. All of my calories were from fast foods and takeaways that were just full of fat that was making me feel really sluggish and fatigued mentally and physically, which obviously just is not good for you at all, no matter whether you're going to the gym or not. So when you think about your diet and your nutrition, you need to be getting your protein and your macronutrients from whole foods like rice, pasta, meats, stuff like that. The best way to think about it is the less preparation you have to do for your meal, chances are the less good it is for you. Obviously there's caveats to that, and you can get meals that are pre-cooked and you only need to microwave them, for example, and they're good for you. As a general rule of thumb, the less prep you have to do, probably the less healthy it is. So I think the safest way to go about things, although it's probably not the easiest way, it is the safest way in terms of diet and nutrition, is to make your own meals. Buy chicken breasts, buy steaks, buy rice, pasta and all that good stuff, and make the food yourself, make the meals up, because that way you can easily track the macro and micronutrients, although micronutrients aren't a massive problem or something you need to be massively aware of in your beginner months of going to the gym. But at least then you can actually track it and you're not having too much fat and all that good stuff. Or bad stuff, I suppose. So please don't, A, completely neglect your diet and nutrition and just hope you can get away without changing anything you're eating. And please don't, B, go absolutely ham on the calories and just order fast food and takeaways and all that good stuff, because you'll just get fat. I promise you, you'll get fat. And above that, the quality of muscle you put on won't be very good. So you won't be putting on lean muscle mass, which at the end of the day is what most people want to do. So please, please, please focus on your nutrition properly. Right, now we're moving on to the important stuff and we're talking about form. Don't get me wrong, I know everyone wants to come to the gym for their first time and be able to pump loads of weight with great form and progress really easily. That's just not going to happen. I know you see it all over social media, all these big guys like Trend Twins, for example, pumping super heavy weights, and they are massive, although they're like 5'4". That doesn't take away from the fact that they're massive. And you think, right, big weights equal big muscles, which is kind of true, but you have to progress to it. You can't come into the gym and do it straight away, because I guarantee you, one of these things is going to happen. Either A, you're going to injure yourself, B, you're just going to not be able to progress at all, or C, you're going to look like a knob. And speaking about injuries themselves, when you first come into the gym, your muscles aren't going to be expecting you to move loads of weight, because it's your first time in the gym. You're not used to isolating that muscle under constant tension. So doing it at a light enough weight will still make you feel sore, and you could injure yourself if your form is shit. So if you come into the gym and do heavy weights with shit form, it's like a straight road to injuring yourself. So please don't come in, pick an effective weight that means you fail at a decent rep range. 8 to 12 is usually a good recommendation, and then you can work on progressing the weights as long as you keep good form. That's the key point. Right, this is the number one mistake I made when I was a beginner in the gym, and that is consistency. And this is the most important thing, and I'll tell you why, because the 4 other mistakes I mentioned, if you make the mistakes, this will probably cause this mistake. So you have to do all the others in order for this mistake to not happen. That's why I think it's the most important. So tell me if this sounds anything like you. You hit the gym really hard, really well for 2 or 3 weeks, and you're burnt out, you've got no motivation, and you just don't want to go to the gym anymore. And you're like, why has this happened? Because I was enjoying it, now I'm just not enjoying it. And I'll tell you why. It's because of consistency. Keeping things consistent and keeping things in a routine will allow consistency. Consistency leads to consistency. Might sound stupid, but the more you get into a routine, the more likely you are to stick to it. It's just the beginning part that is difficult. The first few weeks, you'll probably be all over the shop. That's why you're burnt out and bored now, because you were all over the place. You had no routine, no structure, and you weren't consistent with your workouts or your progressing or tracking. So put a plan together, try and fix all of the previous mistakes I just mentioned, and then it would make your life a lot easier and will make staying consistent a lot easier. And lack of consistency are one of the biggest things that prevent growth, whether that's in strength or muscle mass. So put together a plan you can stick to, make sure you fixed all the other 4 mistakes first, and then once you found the plan you can stick to, you will find you can be consistent at it and you will make consistent progress. That's the key point. You have to be consistent to be consistent. Like I said, I know it sounds stupid, but consistent input leads to consistent output. That's the way it works, whether you like it or not. And that's why consistency is the most important mistake that I made when I was the beginner in the gym. I just wasn't consistent. So let's do a quick roundup of the 5 mistakes I made when I was a beginner.
Without a structured workout plan, it's hard to track progress and stay motivated. So make sure to create a detailed plan for your exercises each day. Now for overtraining, working out every day without proper recovery leads to burnout and injuries, so incorporate rest days to allow muscles to recover and grow. Ignoring diet can hinder your progress. Focus on a balanced diet of protein, healthy fats and complex carbs to fuel your workouts and recovery. Neglecting proper form can cause injuries. Learn the correct technique for each exercise, starting with lighter weights and increasing them gradually. And now consistency. Inconsistency can stall your progress. Find a routine that works for you, set realistic goals and track your progress to stay motivated.
Right, let's move on to the pro tips, and the first one is setting realistic goals for short and long term. More often than not, you'll see beginners come into the gym with a very long term goal, and I'm talking 1, 2, 3 years, even longer. Let's say they want to be an IFBB pro in the future, or they want to put on 20 pounds of muscle, they want to put on 20 kilos, whatever it is, you need to have shorter term goals to actually make them realistic and keep your motivation up. Because if your goals are super long term, it's very hard to notice the progressions you are making towards it. So it's important when setting goals that you make them shorter as well as long term, so you can actually notice the progressions you're making towards that goal, so you keep your motivation up. Because that's the biggest thing that stops people from going to the gym, or that makes people stop going to the gym in general, is that they don't have the motivation, so they can't be asked. So to keep your motivation up, set shorter term goals. Right, my next pro tip is education. It is so important to be educating yourself during your gym journey, so you don't just get stuck in one type of workout or one way of doing things, because chances are the first way you start working out will probably not be the right way. So it's really important to think and try and learn about new things and better ways to actually train that will enhance your progress. And it's very easy to be ignorant and think you know everything, but I promise you there is always more to learn no matter what it is. So the more you know, the better progress you're going to make. So just educate yourself. Right, my next pro tip is about routine, and it's keeping a balanced one. I promise you, this is one of the key things that will keep your workouts interesting, is if you include cardio, strength training, flexibility training, stretching, all types of training that you can that will enhance your progression in all the other aspects of the training. Because that means there's more to change, which keeps things exciting, but it also means you're making sure that all of your other aspects of training and health are progressing equally alongside all of the other aspects. Because each aspect of your training will benefit you in one way or another, and they will probably be in different ways. So there are actually reasons people always say to stretch, do cardio, do flexibility training, as well as strength training, because there are so many benefits to them that will surround your progress in strength training or hypertrophy training. And obviously the biggest thing is it makes your training more exciting, keeps it interesting, and there's a lot more to change. And obviously a lot more to learn when you're including different types of training. Right, now we're getting to the proper important pro tips, so listen up. This one is about recovery. So like I said before, allowing yourself to recover is one of the biggest things that will keep your fitness journey going and allow longevity for your fitness journey. Although you might think muscle is built in the gym, that's not actually right. The muscle is broken down in the gym and is built and recovered outside of the gym based on what you eat, how well you sleep, and all other factors. So take time to rest, take time to sleep well, and also take time to incorporate active recovery sessions if you're just too burnt out but still want to come to the gym. There's no harm in doing active recovery at all. So that can mean doing stretching, it can mean doing yoga, it can mean doing light cardio, whatever it takes to keep you active but still recovering will keep your progress steady and make sure you don't get injured or burn out. And now my number one pro tip is to track things. I say this to so many people: track your nutrition, track your training, because otherwise, how will you know if you're progressing? You won't. Unless you just look at yourself, or you're doing like 100-meter sprints and you know your time's getting shorter, but that's still a way of tracking your progress. So please, please, please log your workouts, log the weights you're doing, see if you can progress them after each session, and also track your calories, track your macronutrients, because that's how you're going to tell if you're heading in the right direction. But it's also going to tell you if you're not heading in the right direction, then you can come back to the drawing board, see what you're doing wrong, because you've got all of this progress tracked, and then alter your workout or your nutrition to help you progress again. So generally speaking, tracking is what is going to make you progress. Obviously assuming you actually pay attention to the tracking that you do, because it's no good writing it down but just not listening to it or looking at it at all. So that is the 5 common mistakes beginners make when first hitting the gym, and those are my 5 pro tips for you starting out in the gym. If you like this video, go check out my previous video. It was rating the top gym accessories of 2024, and it was a banger. Go and check it out, link in the description or in the top corner. And if you're new, smash the thumbs up button and turn on the bell so you get notified when I post a new video, which is every Saturday at 5 PM, by the way. Well, that is all from me. I hope you like this one, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.